Good morning. It's Wednesday again. In fact, today specifically is Wednesday, July 24th. It's about 6:30 in the morning right now, and here I am with my new latest report to you. This is my 8th shot of Ozempic, which means this is my 7th week that I've been on it, as I've slowly been increasing the dosage safely per my doctor's prerequisites. Again, to summarize, I had bad blood tests that came back, and for one blood test cycle, I actually reported in as being diabetic. And now actually at the time, through just waiting and being more sensible, when I got 2 months later, my next blood test, it was pre-diabetic. So it already came down. I don't really have a full-on diabetes analysis, but, I'm up there in that range. So I've only been married for 10 years now. I've got 2 young kids. So I'm trying to do all this to be around for them. And that is the hope. So when I went back to being pre-diabetic, talking to the doctor, and he said, you know something, you're still eligible for some Ozempic on you, and should help those levels. It should help fatty deposits on my liver. So let's go ahead and do this. So we sat down. We said, all right, what do we need to do? And he showed me how to use the pen, which I actually do it here while talking to you. I actually take my weekly dosage. But he actually started me off on an introductory dose of about 0.25 milligrams. Okay, a quarter of what the real dosage generally is. Okay, people who take semaglutides like this that just do it strictly for weight loss might jump right to the 1 milligram immediately because their motivations are a little different than mine. Now, I have tacked this conversation I've been having for the last 7-8 weeks onto this playlist, and the playlist itself is called My Weightloss Journey. But it just shows you that for the first 24, 25 episodes, I was trying to do the natural thing and had good results, then lost those results. Now, trying to get back on the horse of doing things correctly with the assistance of. So, primarily, this is to get my levels in line, but the added side effect of weight loss is something I am not going to shirk at. I'm looking forward to. So, and that's been happening so far. So the doctor had me at 0.25 milligrams for a month, and since I had no side effects and no negative consequences of any kind, we actually upped it, or he upped it, should I say, from 0.25 to 0.5, wherein I did that for 3 weeks. In fact, the doctor had, I was originally scheduled to meet with him telehealth tomorrow or the day after, but I guess he had an opening in his schedule last Saturday, so he bumped it up. So now after 3 weeks of being a 0.5, he's now upped it again. And now I'm going to a full 1 milligram dose. So now I should be on the regimen of this is what happens when you're on something like Ozempic. Everything up until now has been a change in my lifestyle, my habits, exercising and seeing a trainer to help me out and actually focus me better. And also, I, again, for the second time in my life, have sleep apnea. I had it once before at the turn of the century, and I got throat surgery, and that kind of cleared it up for a long time. But unfortunately, when I did that, I was 80 to 100 pounds lighter than when I started this little part of the video series. With added weight becomes more complications in sleeping, which means I get less oxygen while I sleep, so my body doesn't work and function as well as it used to. Now I wear a machine and a mask overnight. In fact, my wife has one as well, so we're like dueling Darth Vaders while we sleep. But now I'm getting better oxygen while I sleep. So lifestyle, exercise, oxygen while I sleep. Hey, we're going to add this semaglutide to help out my blood levels. I have a good recipe for success here. And I'm doing the damnedest I can to make sure that this works. Okay? So let me do my morning injection when I talk to you a little bit more. I will say that when I met with my doctor on the telehealth this past Saturday, he shared with me some graph that he's like, oh, I'm surprised I haven't seen you, I haven't showed this to you yet. So let me do that now, and he did. And when I'm done here, I'm actually going to share the graph with you. Apparently, there was a medical study done regarding Mounjaro, and Mounjaro is the equivalent to Ozempic. That it is there for your blood results purposes. So, excuse me 1 second. I have to dial this into my new 1 milligram. 0.5. Wow. Oh, okay. Oh, you know something? This is my older pen. This pen only goes up to 2 milligram in total. So I had taken 4 weeks. This is my 8th video, so I did 7 shots. Yes, I did 4 weeks of 0.25, so that's 1, and then 2 5.0 or 0.5s. So that was the 1 pen. Okay, so that was the first 6 doses, and then last week I took my first 0.5, and then I'll tell you how I cheated and took a second one a couple days ago. So I actually have 1 milligram left in the old pen. I have to shoot this bad boy twice. So here we go. Again, I'll take that nurse's advice and do a little bit of pinching. Oh, taking off the cap might help a little bit. Make sure under the belly button, off to the right. That's 1. Here's the other 0.5. Click. I didn't think I was going to have to do 2 today, but there you go. So that is the end of this pen. I already have my other old pen that I might keep for a reminder or keepsake, but I don't need it any longer. So there we go. I'm going to put the needle back in the cap, put the cap back in the other cap, and of course I pricked myself when I did it. And garbage, garbage, garbage. Okay, so now I already have my third pen. It's in the fridge right now. And they say usually you want to refrigerate it for a while, but take it out the day before you need it so it goes to room temperature, because you don't want the refrigerated liquid to get congealed kind of. Then it'll be harder for it to go through the needle. So I'll pull that out next week. That, I believe, unlike these being 2 milligram pens, which usually take you the 0.5 4 times, it's, a 4 milligram pen. So therefore, it will be done over again 4 shots, but at 1 full milligram apiece. And I do hope I don't have to do it twice. That would be better for me, I think. So, let me jump back for a second. So I did the 0.5 last Wednesday. And then he told me on Saturday, hey, you can go ahead and do 1 milligram from now on. Okay. However, this was starting to butt up against my own little OCD that I have here, because if you do the quick little math, on a 2 milligram pen, where I've done 0.5 milligrams already, that means I got 1.5 left. So if I do a 1 milligram shot, they'll give me that one little half a dose in here. And I didn't want to do like a half a dose of this pen and a half a dose of another pen. So I was going back and forth. What should I do? I could just throw it out. Someone told me when they had Zepbound, every pen is a one-use pen, whether you use the whole dosage or not, because you can't change the needles on those pens. So I was like, what should I do? What should I do? And I was like, you know something? Fuck it. He already put me up a dose. Let me just use it. So the extra 0.5 that I used, I did it on Monday morning, thinking, let me give me another little boost to get ready for the 1 milligram. And again, took it, no side effects, doing pretty well. So now I've used the full 1 milligram in this pen, and now I'm done with the pen entirely. So I don't have to worry about that. How am I going to get rid of this last? I don't want to waste, half a milligram of semaglutide, this precious, precious liquid. So that's what I decided to do. I'm not throwing that out there as a recommendation. I'm not saying my doctor said go ahead and do this. I'm like, listen, he already transitioned me from 0.5 to 1. Therefore, this should be okay. We'll see what happens. I don't expect anything to change. And I'll go to next week with a new pen at 1 milligram, and it will be equal over 4 and use up the whole pen. Okay, that aside, let me talk about this graph. And he talked a little bit about it, but I pulled out something that he said, which is what I'm going to share here. So I'm going to put this on full screen and just talk about it at once. So here it is. This is just some form of study that was done in some medical journal somewhere. And it's showing different drugs over time that what the effect is going to be on the body. Okay. Again, he might have said more than what I'm saying, but I'm going to go with this. Now, this specific study was done via Mounjaro. Okay, so at the full dose or whatever, this bottom line here, this tirzepatide 15 milligram, seems to be what Mounjaro would do. Okay, and then over time and all of the weeks, it flattens out how much the body weight is going to drop by. So at its maximum, Mounjaro would do 22.5%. Okay. What he's told me, though, is that that's not the line that Ozempic is. Ozempic should be the line above it. That's this one here. Okay, that 10 milligram curve that I've just highlighted. So that should probably max out at about 21.4% of the body weight lost via the drug. So that's what I should expect over time for me. All right. Now, he threw out some mean or median number here. And what he said was roughly about 17.5%. Expect 17.5% of your body mass to decrease, or your fat to decrease because of this. Now, at my starting weight of the 286, that looks to be roughly 50 pounds. So that's saying drug only would be 50 pounds. Now, that doesn't include change in lifestyle, getting more oxygen while sleeping, going and exercising. So, I can look forward to the 50 in the course of a year or so. But obviously, I mean, that 17.5 looks like, if I cross-reference it, it's about 30 weeks, give or take. So now it's been 2 months or so that I've been on this. So that should be, at 30 weeks. So 2 months is what? That's 8 weeks. So I'm well high up there. Now the 8 weeks, if I pull that 8 all the way up to the top, that looks like it should only be about like 5, 6, maybe 7 pounds. So I've been doing better than that because of 2 reasons. 1, how the lifestyle has changed, and 2, how I'm at such a larger number to begin with that the early pounds can shed off easy. Okay, enough with the graph. I will throw this face in front of you once more. So again, where am I at this week? I'm looking at 271.3. So this is almost 2 pounds less than last week. And I'm sitting at 14.7 in total since I started this part of my new lifestyle. So a little upset at the number for one reason. Okay. I do plasma donations about twice a week. I go to one of those CSL plasma centers. Okay. If you want to know more about that, let me know about that. I'd love to, send you a link that you can utilize as being like refer a friend and give you something extra on the side. But when I went there, what they do is when they give you the intake to make sure that your levels are good, they weigh you. So I'm sitting in here in like t-shirt and shorts, and I got my sneakers on, and I jumped on their scale. And their scale, it said 269. So I'm like, that's amazing, 260s. Especially due to the fact that I wasn't anticipating it to be down there. Because last week was a little bit of a celebration week. Almost got off the wagon a little bit. So normally I try to do like a little slim fast shake for breakfast and lunch and have a sensible dinner. Okay. But last week, usually on a Wednesday, I'll have a small 1 egg sandwich, like in a wrap or something like that. And then, start the new week off to the next Wednesday. And last week, friends had come over on Friday. So we got some Chinese food, which is always delicious. I had, half the portion they gave me is what I had for my meal. And then on Saturday, we had a barbecue over a friend's house again. And my kids used their pool for a while. So, I kind of went off my diet, off my usual schedule because I was socializing. But I tried to keep it as cool and keen as possible. It's possible I didn't drink both nights. I know I definitely didn't drink on Saturday, but I might not have drank anything on Friday either. I don't remember. But I weighed myself on Sunday morning. Now, I try to not look at a scale until every Wednesday morning, but I just had to take a look. And at that point, there was a gain. Now, there might have been new food in the system from the day before that hadn't worked its way out of my system yet. But at that time, it looked like about 278. I was like, I'd rather not have a video that shows an increase in weight, but I will because it is what it is. Okay. I'm not going to lie about my weight. I have no benefit for doing so. So I was like, wow, all right, this is going to suck this week. So then jumping on the scale at CSL, showing it in the 260s, no less. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I have my shoes on. So let's see what happens when I do tomorrow. Now, my wife had cooked last night, and she made some Indian dish, which I forget the name of it, but it's got like one of those orangey kind of sauces. It was a chicken with green peppers were in it, and it tastes delicious when she does it. I chose not to have the rice on the side because I wanted to make this morning as beneficial as possible. Okay, so I had a small bowl about half filled with just the chicken. But when I woke up this morning, 271 was the number I got. I'm like, it was such a small, sensible dinner. It must be a different in the scales. Theirs being 269 with shoes on, me doing it this morning. I wake up, use the toilet before I put anything in my system, take the clothes off, jump on the scale. So everything is flushed as possible, and I have no extra weight on of any ounces, and it was higher than the 269. So I was a little disappointed that was the number, but it's still a number going in the proper direction. So I'm not going to dwell on the fact of damn. The only thing I'm going to be slightly upset about is that at 14, I dropped my paper. 1 second. Is that at 14.7, I can't pull out my next charm of 15-pound loss. So hopefully you'll see that come out here next week. That's about everything I want to say for this week. Hopefully anything I've mentioned to you or shared with you today might help you out. I love the comments, by the way. Most people have positive things to say either to me, and I thank every one of you, or you're talking about yourself, and I'll engage in the conversation with you because I'm actually curious about your story. Okay. But one thing I will say in closing, I know everyone says, hey, like, subscribe, and all that kind of jazz. But I looked at my analytics of this channel in general. And I know that I do not only this here, but I do book reviews and I record audiobooks here. But I've noticed that this channel has actually hit that one threshold of being watched 4,000 hours a year. And that's one of the two main criteria that YouTube has before ad revenue sharing. The other, of course, is number of subscribers. Now they've changed, I think, their mix. And I think the first tier that I might be able to see something like that and maybe do things like this full time instead of doing it at 6 or 5 in the morning just before logging on to work is I have to get at least 500 subscribers. So I think the tiers are like 500, 1,000, and maybe 4,000. So hopefully you know some people and you can share this around. Love to get to those numbers and help out the cause. Maybe that'll help me get some gym equipment in my home. And not to mention, it'll let my kids have a better life too. So that's the last of my little plug. Let me say thank you for watching. It is now about 6:53. I've had you here for about 22 minutes right now. But I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. Let me know if you think anything here was misleading. I don't believe it should be, but if you heard it wrong, I want to talk to you about it. Let me know if anything here was well worth it to you. Okay? In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.